Good morning. Today is Saturday, January 29th, 2022, and I'm going to take a few moments and actually read to you from one of our books, Northern Paganism, Choices and Growth, because recently I've heard of the rapidly approaching day called Saint Valentine's Day, that it has nothing to do with Northern paganism, Norse paganism, Germanic, Celtic, Slavic, Northern paganism, that it has nothing to do with that. And that is erroneous. That is a false statement. So I'm going to cover that. Where did this day called Saint Valentine's Day, this turn of a calendar page, this tick of a clock come from? Well, Northern paganism has absolutely nothing to do with that turn of a calendar page. Pagans are in touch with seasonal flows, with cosmic movements, moon cycles, the cycles of the sun, the times of the season and the sun. And so by pushing everything into a day, it detracts from what is actually going on in nature and in the heavens above. I'm going to read from Northern Paganism, Choices and Growth, the color version, which is also available in a black and white version, and it's also in our 6 books combined in black and white. That whole book is black and white. And after we go through and we discuss and we show in chapter 1 what actually kills Balder, and it's not mistletoe, we show that. Then we go and we give the name that Loki uses and what that name means and why it's important to Vola avenging Balder. That name means fog or mist, but we show it in here. I'm going to pick it right up after that. Vola or Vali avenges Balder at 1 night old. How is that so? At 1 night old, in a literal sense, to have Vali or Vola avenge Balder, in a literal sense, it's an impossibility. But let's pick it up. How is that so? How does an infant of 1 night old avenge his brother? The answer is found in Vola's name and who his parents are. Vola's name means to cry, to wail, or woe. As we have shown in Northern paganism, the runes, Odin, Vola's father, is the ruling night sky god who put on a dark blue mantle to preside over that time, who then is Vrinder, also spelled Rinder. Now realize that last R on there is poetic. So the name is Vrind, V-R-I-N-D, or Rind, R-I-N-D. She is the mother of Vola. The name Vrinder, or Rinder, means wren, the small songbird. Baldur's Drama, stanza 11, and Svipdag's Mal, stanza 6, provide answers. The first half of Baldur's Drama, stanza 11, states, Wren bears woe in the western sea, so must Odin's son 1 night battle. We break down the Old Norse words to show you how we have that translation. The western sea is the western sky at sunset, the burning sky of a multitude of colors. The death of Balder on a daily cycle as well as a yearly cycle. That sunset is not seen at the end of a daily cycle during midsummer, when Balder is at his pinnacle of strength. The death of Balder on an annual cycle is the end of the season of growth and increase, the end of mother's time. This is why it is called woe, Vola, to matriarchal peoples who honor Mother Goddess. Fowl are not merely in association to Mother Goddess, spirit animals of hers. They are seen as a link between the terrestrial and the heavens. Wrens are not a nighttime fowl. You will first hear wrens in those pre-dawn hours just before sunrise. The etymology of wren shows it is from the Aryan root rin, W-R-I-N, and is not solely applied to a small bird. It is a word uttered from the feelings of being proud, not castrated in demeanor. Hence, a wren sings, a horse neighs, a cock crows, a dog barks or howls. Our poem Justice of Tyr, from our first poetry book, Northern Paganism, Poems About Our Folkish Ways in Holy Northern Lands, uses this insight from Baldur's Drama, stanza 11, and Svipdag's Mall, stanza 6. In addition to singing, the spirit of wren, as observed in nature, include duality. Both mother and father care for their young. Outgoing and friendly. Creative. Quick-witted. Active and determined. The work ethic of our northern pagan ancestors to always strive for improvement and growth. Lighthearted, free-spirited, and sharing. That's in addition to singing. So Wren, Vrind, in her final pre-darkness hours of singing before sunset, bears or carries Vola, woe. Thus, we get the interaction of nighttime sky god Odin and Wren having a non-literal son named Vola. When will Balder be avenged? At sunrise. In both the daily cycle and yearly cycle, Balder is avenged when blazing white or shining white increases from the east one night later. The one night on a daily cycle is obvious. On the yearly cycle, when seasonal changes reflect the death of blazing white or Balder and the high lacking famous tree being brought in, that one night is one winter, one nighttime cycle of the year. This is where the invented hagiography of the so-called Saint Valentine, V-A-L-E, Valentine, Volentine, is plagiarized from. The name and time of year given for his day, February 14th, being a manipulation of Vola, Vali, and what is occurring in the annual cycle of Northern paganism. In the second half of Baldur's Drama, stanza 11, Volva states, hand not washing, neither head combing, until bears upon blaze, Baldur's opposite, unwillingly saying, now must be silent. And then we give the Old Norse words in the breakdown. The head and hand not being washed is because of being made dirty, the dimness, the darkness of that which is opposite Balder, Balder's adversary. And Vola will continue in this dirty state for the course of the darkness until Baldur's opposite is carried to the blaze, blazing white. Svipdagmal states, or Svipdagmal means the swift day's speech. Svip, to swoop, swift. Dogs is days and mull is speech. So stanza 6 states, Groa states, then yell thee in the beginning, then speak full new or full anew, then sings Renbeak, close up to, over shoulder push, whistle thou fierce seems to be, self, lead thyself. And then we give the Old Norse word breakdown. This is speaking about the morning, the new day, that is pushing the darkness or night over the shoulder of the earth, and the singing birds, wrens, that welcome each morning, and how that whistling, singing into shields, seems fierce to the departing enemy. The blind hate, the lacking darkness from the previous night. Remember, fowl are a symbol of our soul, and directly associated with Mother Goddess Freya, representing goodness and joy, standing for wisdom, intelligence, and the swift power of thought. Thereby, the additional applicable lesson from Mother Goddess Freya is to lead yourself in that day. I'm going to stop right there because St. Valentine's Day is a plagiarism of a season in northern paganism. It is when the sun has risen to a point that it is starting to provide more light, more warmth. Trust me, February is still really cold up in the north, but this is not a day. This is a season. It has been the cults of Abraham that have taken seasonal transitions and put them into a day. So what does St. Valentine's Day actually represent? Where does it come from? It comes from this seasonal transition from the Fimble winter, from the three giantess maidens, where Balder was knocked from his pinnacle by something that has been made to be mistletoe. And then one winter later, Vali, will avenge Balder's death. And that light will increase on the eastern shore. And that has been rolled into a St. Valentine's Day. But why hearts? Why sweets, candy, flowers? Well, hearts and sweets and candy are all things that are associated with our bear and our northern pagan culture. Let's go with the flowers. In the north, the white birch tree is the first tree to bloom of all of the deciduous trees. Remember, that white birch tree, we've discussed that in several of our books. That white birch tree has got soft and supple limbs. It has the ability to exist in the extreme mountainous areas with the fir tree without the limbs breaking. So as you proceed up the high peaks, you'll go through the other trees, and then you'll run into groves of white birch trees. And then those white birch trees will be intermingled with the yew tree. And then eventually it will become too cold for either of those trees to exist, and you'll come to the rocky rest bed of our ancestral bear, where the dens are made. And those white birch trees every February begin to bloom, flower. It's the first tree. It's the first tree that warms and gives it sap. It's the first tree that will feed, because of how the flowers come out on that tree first. It will actually feed the bee, the honey bee, to make its honey. And then we proceed into the maple and then eventually into dandelions, what's called dandelions. And all of these are for making honey. The bee will make its honey from that flowering tree first. And then our bear, which is in hibernation, however, has also given birth during this time. The heart, the beating heart of the next generation. Or should I be going? Probably that would be better. The beating heart of the next generation. Our bear is giving rebirth within his den. The rebirth of valiancy. Remember, those skull and leg bones were hung upon those sapling fir trees. Ancestors buried in the groves. The symbol of valiancy. Our ancestral bear, Altvater, hung upon the trees, wrapped in linen or its fur, some skulls painted. This was a holy place. Suddenly, the bear is giving rebirth to the next generation of valiancy. And the bear comes out to see. We've discussed this in our video about Groundhog's Day. The bear has been reduced to that symbol in many countries, to be the groundhog. So that beating heart of our bear, the next generation. So we have the flowers, and we have the sweets, and we have the heart. This day, this turn of a calendar page, this tick of a clock, represents a whole entire season of northern paganism. And I don't even remember who said it, that it has nothing to do with it, but they are wrong. And we've included it in our book, Northern Paganism, Choices and Growth. And now you know that this is just another area where the religious cults of Abraham have stolen from us, cultural appropriation, and commercialized it to enrich their own coffers and detracted from our ancient culture about what that day is really about. So that's where I'll end this video. Until next time, or tils nästa gång. Good hälsa.